In this video, we will take a solemn journey through the final hours of Jesus Christ, exploring the immense suffering he endured. From the brutal scourging to the piercing of his side, each moment is a testament to his sacrifice. It is a story told for millennia, passed down through generations, a cornerstone of faith for billions. But beyond the verses and hymns lies a stark and agonizing truth. The man called Christ suffered deeply. His was not a painless passing, not a gentle sleep. It was a brutal ordeal, fraught with pain, humiliation, and agony. And yet, he endured. He endured for us, for humanity, for a chance at redemption. In exploring the depths of his suffering, we come face to face with the profound sacrifice that underpins the very foundation of Christianity. Join me as we delve into the 5 most harrowing sufferings of Jesus Christ. Imagine, if you will, the cold, hard stone floor of a Roman praetorium. A man, stripped bare, his flesh already marred by the trials that brought him here. This is Jesus, betrayed by one of his own, condemned for crimes he did not commit. His breath catches in ragged gasps, each one a testament to the pain that is to come. The Roman soldiers, hardened by years of war and brutality, waste no time. They tie him to a low pillar, his back exposed, vulnerable. Then, the first sickening thud of the flagrum. This was no ordinary whip. This was an instrument of torture, designed to inflict maximum pain. Leather thongs, weighted with metal and bone, bite into his flesh with each blow. The pain, I imagine, is unimaginable. A searing, burning agony that rips through his body, leaving a tapestry of torn flesh and spurting blood. Try to comprehend, if you can, the sheer brutality of it all. Blow after blow, the flagrum falls, each strike tearing away at his skin, exposing the raw muscle beneath. The blood, crimson and thick, flows freely, staining the stones a macabre red. He cries out, a raw, animalistic sound born of unimaginable pain. But the soldiers show no mercy. They are following orders, carrying out a sentence. And so it continues, this symphony of suffering, until his back is a mangled, bloody ruin. The scourging, brutal as it was only the beginning of his torment. His body, a canvas of pain, is untied from the pillar. He stumbles, weak from blood loss and agony. The soldiers, their faces etched with a mixture of boredom and cruelty, watch him with detached amusement. One of them, perhaps younger than the others, perhaps crueler, notices a discarded branch woven into a crude crown. Thorns, thick and sharp, protrude from it like wicked teeth. A cruel joke, a mockery of the man's claim to be king. They force him to his knees, rough hands grabbing his hair, yanking his head back. The crown is placed upon his brow, the thorns finding purchase in his scalp. He cries out again, this time a high-pitched gasp of pain as the thorns pierce his skin, drawing blood that trickles down his face, mingling with the sweat and grime. Imagine the searing pain, the feeling of those thorns digging into his flesh. Each movement, each breath, exacerbates the agony. But it is not just the physical pain that torments him, it is the humiliation, the mockery of his claim to be the Son of God, the King of the Jews. They spit on him, these men of war, these symbols of Roman might. They laugh at his pain, reveling in his suffering, and he, bloodied and broken, endures it all, endures it for us. Chapter 3. The weight of the cross, a rough-hewn beam of wood, is immense. It digs into his wounded shoulders, a constant agonizing pressure. He stumbles beneath it, his legs weak, his body racked with pain. The journey to Golgotha, the place of the skull, is a slow, agonizing procession. He falls again and again, the rough wood scraping against his torn flesh. The crowd, a mixture of the curious and the cruel, watches with morbid fascination. Finally, they arrive at the site of the execution. He is stripped once more, his dignity laid bare. They lay him upon the cross, his arms outstretched. The sound of the hammer blows, driving the nails through his flesh, is sickening. He cries out, a long, drawn-out moan of agony that seems to echo across the barren landscape. And then he is raised, lifted up on the cross, his weight hanging from those nails that pierce his flesh. Imagine the pain, the searing, all-consuming agony that shoots through his body with every breath he takes. The sun beats down, a relentless assault. His throat is parched, his lips cracked and bleeding. He gasps for air, each breath a monumental effort. Time itself seems to slow, stretching out the moments of his suffering into an eternity. Chapter 4. Before the agony of the crucifixion, before the nails pierced his flesh, there was another torment carrying the cross. This in itself was a punishment designed to break the condemned, to strip away any last vestiges of hope. The patibulum, the crossbeam, is heavy, rough-hewn timber. It is laid upon his already lacerated shoulders, adding its weight to the burden of his suffering. He stumbles beneath it, his legs weak from the scourging, his body racked with pain. The journey, known as the Via Dolorosa, the Way of Sorrows, winds through the crowded streets of Jerusalem. He is jostled by the crowds, mocked, spat upon. His steps are faltering, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Imagine the searing pain as the rough wood rubs against his torn flesh, the weight of the cross bearing down on him with each step. He falls again and again, his body finding no respite from the agony, and yet, he rises. Driven by a force greater than himself, he continues on, carrying the weight of the cross, the weight of our sins, upon his wounded shoulders. Chapter 5. He hangs there, on the cross, his lifeblood slowly draining away. The crowd has thinned, their morbid curiosity sated. Only a handful of the faithful remain, their faces etched with grief. A Roman centurion, a seasoned soldier with duty in his eyes and indifference in his heart, approaches the crucified figure. He raises his spear, its tip honed to a razor-sharp point. This is no act of cruelty but one of confirmation. A pierced heart ensures death, leaves no room for doubt. The spear plunges into his side, a final, brutal punctuation mark to his suffering. From the wound flows blood and water, a detail recorded by the disciples, a detail that has fascinated medical minds for centuries. Some believe it signifies a ruptured heart, a testament to the sheer physical strain of the crucifixion. Imagine in that final moment the release from pain, the surrender to death, but imagine too, the triumph. For in that final breath, in that final heartbeat, he conquers death, paving the way for our salvation. Thank you for joining us on this solemn journey through the final hours of Jesus Christ. His suffering and sacrifice are a profound reminder of his love and devotion. He endured the unimaginable, embraced agony and humiliation, all for the redemption of humanity. As we reflect upon his passion, let us remember the depth of his love, the magnitude of his sacrifice. Let his suffering inspire us to live with greater compassion, greater empathy, and greater love for one another. Please like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos.